Welcome to Upleveling, the podcast dedicated to building better leaders, smarter systems, and bigger results. Welcome to the episode where we are talking about the bullshit we're not taking into 2026. We're going to get candid and lay it all out in this episode. So over the last couple of weeks or couple of episodes, I've talked a lot about goal setting and goal planning and reflection and the things that we're going to do to improve. Now let's talk about the things that we are not going to do. Because honestly, at the end of the day, if you want to grow and uplevel your business, you have got to grow and uplevel yourself. And that includes your actions and your day-to-day. This is not about New Year's resolutions. This is about what we are done tolerating. So let's hop right into what those things are. Number one, we are not going to walk into our days without a plan. And I am guilty of this sometimes. What happens is I walk into my office, and if I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing, I find myself an hour later still wondering what I'm supposed to be doing. Because what happens is we sit down and we get busy with emails and Slack and returning phone calls. And then at the end of the day, you look back and realize you didn't get a dang thing done during the day. The reason for that is you do not have a solid plan for what you want your day to look like. And to be frank, if you want to have a different business, you have got to run your days differently. You've got to plan out your week and plan out your day. So what I highly recommend doing is writing out what are the top 3 things you need to accomplish each day, and you focus on those 3 things before you do anything else. Because guess what? There's always going to be fires to put out. There's always going to be employee issues or client issues, and you need to focus on what really matters, and then you can put those fires out later. I want you to think about planning isn't productivity. It is being disciplined. You're not going to accidentally grow your business. You're only going to be able to do that if you change and grow yourself. So we're going to walk into each day with a clear plan of how we can best spend our time for that day. Number 2, we're not doing everything ourselves. Growth is going to require leverage. And in order to get leverage, you have to have a team that you can delegate to. One of the best books I read over the past couple of years is a book called Who Not How by Benjamin Hardy and Dan Sullivan. And I believe I've talked about this book before. It's super simple concept. You might not even need to read the book. It is about asking yourself, who can do this for me? Instead of how can I do this? And when you start to ask that question about all of the actions or activities that are coming your way, who can do this instead? You are going to be able to leverage your time where you can focus on the most important actions. The more that you delegate, the more that your business can grow. And then you're going to be able to spend your time on strategy or sales or developing and mentoring the team, maybe even developing yourself. But if you're the one that's constantly doing everything, you're not going to be able to uplevel your business. Number 3, we're not bringing asshole clients into 2026. Here's the thing. You are the business owner. You get to decide who you work with. And if you have clients that are constantly draining your energy, you need to let them go. Because there is no money worth that client. Well, there might be some money, but realistically, that client is going to cost you more in your energy and in your sanity than what they're even paying you. Not only that, they are taking up space where you can't bring in the right ideal client because you got asshole clients over here. So this is a year that we are going to let them go, and we are not going to tolerate that any longer. because we need to work with people who are going to value our expertise, who are going to give us good energy, and people who want to pay us appropriately. So let it go. We're not going to earn money at the expense of our sanity. Number 4, we're not letting our team coast. People don't grow without leadership, so this is the year that we are going to hold our team accountable, and we are going to set clear expectations. We're going to give them timely feedback, and we're going to have hard conversations. Because guess what? Your growth is on the other side of that hard conversation. Whatever it is you've been putting off discussing with your team, that is the obstacle in your way of growth. And I know, listen, I am very much a people pleaser. I have worked very hard on overcoming that. And what I've realized is the hard conversations, although yes, they're uncomfortable, your team wants to know them, or at least the right team member does, because how are they going to improve if you're not talking to them about the things that aren't working? So this is the year that we are going to step into the leadership role that you have always wanted. You're going to lead and mentor and develop the team. And then here's the thing, when they're not meeting those expectations, they're not meeting their metrics, or they're not aligning with your values, we're going to let them go. And that's not always a bad thing, because if they're not winning and being successful at your business, you need to let them go so they can go and be successful somewhere else. I want you to remember that clarity is kind and avoidance is expensive. Number 5, we're not operating without written goals and a plan. Now, you've heard me talk about this over the past month, and so now is when we are going to put pen to paper if you haven't already. Because here's the thing, if you want to grow, you want to up-level, you need to know where you're going. And the only way to do that is to put it on paper. We're going to get it out of your head. What you want to get on paper is what's your annual vision? What do you want this year to look like? And then we're going to break that up into a 90-day goal. What can you realistically accomplish in the first quarter? What I love to do is, after I have those 90-day goals broken up, is a 2-week sprint. Basically, I'm taking those 90-day goals and I'm breaking them up into 2 weeks. And I'm going to review my progress. I'm going to measure the results and what happened, and then adjust. Because if we're not writing our goals and then reflecting on those goals, we're not going to make or see improvement. And if you're just setting this revenue goal and not doing the work behind the scenes, you're not going to reach it. Or you might by luck, but you're not going to reach it the next year. The luck is only going to take you so far. Now is when you're getting strategic and you're writing down your goals on paper and holding yourself accountable. Number 6, we're not winging it with our finances. Because here's the thing, the next level of your business is going to require better data. No more numbers in your head, making decisions off your bank balance. What you need to have is monthly accurate financials and a partner or a resource who's going to explain to you what they mean. If you want to grow your business, you have to understand your financials. You have to know what your balance sheet is and what's on it and what it means. And you have to look at your profit and loss statement, because that is the only way that you're going to be able to make the best decisions to improve the business. And because honestly, what got you here is not going to get you to the next level. You have got to improve the data that you're using to run your business. We talked about in the previous section, setting those 90-day goals and doing those 2-week sprints. The only way you're going to be able to do that is if you also have data to back you up and let you know what's happened over the past 2 weeks. And all of your financials are going to feed that. So we're not going to wing it in our business anymore. We're going to look at real numbers and make decisions that are going to help us improve those numbers. Number 7, we're going to stop focusing on the fact that we have not reached our goals yet, and we're going to focus on how far we've come. This concept actually comes from another book written by Benjamin Hardy and Dan Sullivan. It's called The Gap and the Gain. And this is so important for your mental health. Basically, what that book talks about is when we're constantly focusing on how far we have to go to reach our goals, it kind of can seem disheartening, or like it might not happen, or it's so far away. What we need to do is reflect on how far we've come. That way, you're building that momentum and you're building that mindset that's showing you it's possible, because your brain can see how far you've come. Now, I'm not saying don't set goals. I mean, how many episodes have we talked about goals? So I'm definitely not saying that. But what I'm saying is you need to celebrate how far you've come. And I have to work on this really hard. You know, like I look at even revenue, like, oh, it's not where I want it to be. But dang, it's pretty far from zero from when I started. And so if I can celebrate how far I've come in that, or in size of my team, or my office location, this is probably a mindset that you as a business owner are going to struggle with. At least I struggle with constantly, is I always want things to be better or more, or, you know, I didn't make enough money, or it's not high enough revenue, or it's not as big of a team as I want. Well, if I'm constantly focusing on that, my mindset is negative. Whereas I focus on how far I've come in revenue and how large our team is now compared to 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 1 year ago. I think about like my office location, like what it was 5 years ago or 10 years ago. And that starts to improve my mindset and keeps me positive and reassures me that, well, man, if I can come that far, I can go that much farther. And so it's just the positivity that's going to help you, and it's going to help you reach your goals. And quite frankly, at the end of the day, running a business is really hard, but you need to enjoy the journey. That's what this is about. Because more than likely is you're going to reach the next revenue level, and then you're going to set a higher goal. And then you're going to reach that and you're going to set a higher goal. And that's what's always going to happen. And so it's not about the destination. It's about the journey and enjoying that ride and all of the ups and downs that have come with it. Because if you can do that, it's greatly going to help your mindset and you're going to feel more successful. Number 8, we're not playing small. Here's the thing. You probably have set conservative goals like, hey, I want to grow 10%. I want to make 20% more money. And I want you to think bigger. I know that sometimes we don't do that because you're like, how would I ever reach that goal? And we might feel unsuccessful if we set a goal and we don't reach it. But what if we set a goal and we get halfway there and it's still more than our original goal? This is something I'm working on, and one of the things I'm really working hard at is getting out of production. That means I'm not doing tax returns and I'm not doing accounting, things like that. And so my original goal for the year was to reduce my production time from 100% to 70%. And after talking with my business coach, she really called me out on that and said, why not switch it to 30%? Why don't you try and reduce it from 100% to 30%? And once she said that, I was like, yeah, why not? Because let's say I set that goal of reducing my time to 30%. Maybe I don't hit it. but maybe I hit 50%. That's still going to be better than the original 70% goal. So I want you to make sure that you're setting really big goals. And at the end of the day, you might not hit it, but you'll never hit a target you don't aim for. And I believe you're capable of more and you're going to achieve it. So here's the thing. We have now talked through all of the bullshit we're not taking into 2026. We're not tolerating bad energy. We're not doing everything ourselves. We're not playing small. We are here to win and we are here to uplevel. And I believe that you can do that. You just have to decide and put it on paper. So let's go. Thanks for tuning in to Upleveling. If you found value in today's episode, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. It helps more entrepreneurs like you discover the show. Let's keep the conversation going. Connect with us on social media or visit aligncpa.com for resources and updates. Until next time, keep leading, optimizing, and upleveling.